We are back with more picks and predictions. Today we're going to break down the entire UFC 306 card that's taking place on September 14th at the Sphere in Las Vegas. This card is headlined by Sean O'Malley and Merab Dvalishvili. Let's get right into the predictions. Okay, really quick, before we hop into the first fight here, I just wanted to quickly recap UFC Vegas 97. Our premium package has been crushing it recently, and once again, last week for the Sean Brady vs. Gilbert Burns fight night, we did amazing. We had 5.5 units bet in, and our total net profit was 3.5 units. A total of 8 bets, and only 2 of them ended up losing. The 2 were Felipe Dos Santos' money line and Gilbert Burns' money line. Now, Gilbert Burns just didn't look like who I thought he would, and Felipe Dos Santos was actually looking pretty good, but, Andre Lima turned into a grappler, and that's something to note. Felipe Dos Santos has been taken down quite a bit in his last 2 fights now. So yeah, going to be kind of cautious of that moving forward. But still, 6 out of 8 bets hit, did really good. And yeah, let's roll this right over into UFC 306. Alright, so we kick off the Sphere card with Raul Rosas Jr. versus Aoriqileng. Now give me Aoriqileng to start Raul. I'm joking. Because Raul Rosas should be the pick. He is a minus 800 favorite. There's probably no equity in his money line. There might be some equity in his line to win by submission, so I'd keep an eye out on that. But yeah, Aoriqileng is just a mid fighter everywhere. He has some striking, he has some takedowns. His best weapon is probably his power, but Raul Rosas is the Crimson Chin. I don't see him getting knocked out, not on Mexican Independence Day. And on the Raul Rosas side, I think he's just going to spam his grappling. He should be able to take Aoriqileng down and find a submission. This shouldn't be too hard. I think this is kind of a layup for him. So let's kick off the Mexican Independence Day card with a win for the Mexicans and give me Raul Rosas by submission. All right, second fight on the card, we got Edgar Chairez versus Joshua Van. I'm going to take Van by decision here. I think that Chairez might be live for his submission, but, Van does have an 80% takedown defense, and he can hold his own in the grappling. So I don't really see Chairez having his way with Van when it comes to that. And then on the feet, Van is really technical, really clean, really quick. He does throw a lot of volume as well. So if you're going to pick a minute winner on the feet, it's going to be Van. And yeah, I see most of this fight staying upright, staying standing. So you got to go with Van to win that by decision. Now, he is coming off that KO loss to Charles Johnson in his last fight. So maybe we do find out that Van has like a glass chin or something. But, I don't think that's going to be the case. Chairez isn't really known for his KOs. So aside from a random, Chairez KO here, I think Van is a pretty good bet. He is minus 205. That might be kind of good. He is only 22, and he's going to be improving drastically from camp to camp. So maybe there's some value there. Personally, I haven't laid any money down yet, but I might, depending on how I feel throughout the week. And yeah, I'm going to go with Van by decision here. All right, next fight on the card, we have Yazmin Jauregui versus Ketlen Souza. I'm going to go with Yazmin here. I think she does get the win. I think the Mexicans get back on track after the Edgar Chairez fight. And yeah, I think she's just better than Ketlen Souza everywhere. So I think this fight might just be kind of a layup. The odds do reflect this. Yazmin is a minus 470 favorite. So not really sure if there's any equity left there. But yeah, I think she's just a better striker. And then when it comes to the grappling, Ketlen does have some good takedowns, but Yazmin literally has 100% takedown defense. She's really good at stopping the takedown. And on the feet, she's just super technical and she's just super high volume. So she's going to be the minute winner there as well. So yeah, I think the only risk here might be Ketlen throwing some random overhands. She is one of those like bowling ball shaped girls. So she does have power. She can throw random overhands to kind of like land on Yazmin, who has been knocked out before by I think Denise Gomez. So, that could be a risk. But I think overall, it should be pretty safe. Yazmin should get this fight done. And I think she gets a win for the Mexicans here. All right, up the card, we have Manuel Torres versus Ignacio Bahamondes. Now, I'm going to go with Manuel Torres here. He's an absolute beast of a fighter. He has a great striking differential. He averages about 8 significant strikes landed per minute. And I think he absorbs about 3, which is just absolutely insane. And then when it comes to the grappling, he averages about 3 takedowns a fight. Has pretty good takedown defense himself. So he's super well-rounded. He's super good everywhere. I think he's a really good fighter. And then when it comes to Ignacio Bahamondes, he's 6'3", which is huge for the lightweight division. So he's a long, lengthy striker. He himself has a great striking differential. He has good footwork. He's pretty elusive on the feet as well. And then when it comes to the grappling, he has good takedown defense. Not really good offensive grappling there. So yeah, if this fight goes to the ground, I'd give Torres the advantage. But I actually think he's going to be pretty hard to take this fight to the ground. I think a lot of it stays standing. And then when it comes to the feet, you could say Ignacio is like the longer, lengthier striker. Probably the more technical one too. But I'm going to take Torres to win this by KO. Now, in the Ludovic Klein fight, Bahamondes showed that he's not actually the best at maintaining range. And in this matchup, Torres actually has a pretty good reach as well. He has 73 inches of reach, and Ignacio has a 75.5. So it's only a 2-inch reach advantage for Ignacio. I don't think it's going to be enough. I think Torres can break the range, and he can come in and find the KO. So yeah, give me Torres by KO here. It's a pick 'em line. There's money to be made. I'm probably going to be laying money down on Torres here. All right, up the card, we have Irene Aldana versus Norma Dumont. Now, also, again, more money to be made here. This is also a pick 'em line. Aldana is a slight favorite at -115, and I'm actually going to pick her to win this. Now, this fight is pretty simple. Aldana is the striker and Dumont's the grappler. So it's your classic striker versus grappler matchup. And, Aldana's fought, Amanda Nunes, Holly Holm. She's fought, like, insane level of competition. And even Amanda Nunes kind of abandoned the striking versus Aldana. She's a really good striker and went all in on the wrestling versus her. And, Norma Dumont is a grappler who can do that. She can wrestle Aldana. But, at the end of the day, I just don't see Aldana doing less damage than Dumont. Dumont will slow the fuck out of a fight. She'll make it boring. She'll do what she has to do. But at the end of the day, I just see that Aldana doing much more damage. I think it's going to be one of those scenarios where it's going to be a pretty close fight. There's going to be close rounds where, Dumont has a bunch of control and Aldana has done some damage on the feet. Like, not much has happened. You kind of can't tell who won the round. When it comes to damage, you kind of lean Aldana, but then there's a bunch of control for Dumont, so you just don't know where the judges are going to go. I see this fight playing out that way. I definitely see this fight going to a decision. The over line is probably juiced like crazy. I think there is some value in betting Aldana. I haven't done it just yet. Still got to think about this a little bit. The pick's going to be Aldana, though. I think at the end of the day, between 3 rounds, Irene will do more damage than Dumont, and that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to hope that the judges don't fuck it up. But, at the end of the day, this fight can go either way. It's super close. It's just going to come down to, can Aldana do enough in those moments on the feet? And then, how the takedown and grappling exchanges kind of play out. Dumont will get some takedowns. I don't doubt that. I don't think that Aldana's just going to stay on the feet the entire time. But, it just comes down to, in those moments, how much work does Aldana do? Does she do enough to get the win? I think she does, but it's a pretty close fight. I think it's going to be pretty boring, actually. But, yeah, Aldana is the pick by decision. All right, the next fight is the main card opener. We got Ronaldo Rodrigues versus Ode Osbourne. Yeah, I think the fact that this is opening the Sphere card is pretty bullshit, but, I don't want to hate too much. But, yeah, I'm going to break it down. I think that the pick here is going to be Ronaldo Rodrigues, but I do think this is actually a tricky fight. I'd be weary as to how this fight plays out. I wouldn't just blindly lay money on the Mexican here. I think that, Ode Osbourne is on that 2-fight losing skid to Rafael Filo and Asu Almabayev. But, both those guys did not want to strike with Ode. Asu is just disgusting, so I'll kind of just let that one pass. He's not beating Asu. But even with Rafael Filo, Rafael Filo took him down quite a bit. And when it comes to Ronaldo Rodrigues, he does have really good grappling and slick submissions, but I don't think he has the offensive takedowns to kind of just take Ode down whenever the fuck he wants. And I think that's going to be the reason why a lot of this fights might be standing on the feet. And, on the feet, both of these guys can KO the other. Ode is a really good fast striker who does have power at this weight class especially. And, Ronaldo Rodrigues also has a bunch of power on the feet. So both of them are live for the KO. And I think the minute winner on the feet might actually just be Ode. Potentially, Ronaldo is pretty low volume on the feet. Maybe he does have more of the moments. I think he is more dangerous than Ode slightly when it comes to the knockouts. So I'm going to pick Ronaldo because of that. I think he has more pads. I think if somehow this fight does end up on the ground, Ronaldo will be the winner on the ground. And then on the feet, I think he's slightly more dangerous. But this fight could go either way. I wouldn't be surprised if nobody can find the KO, that Ode just kind of outworks Ronaldo and gets the decision on the scorecards. But, it is Mexican Independence Day. It is the card opener. I don't think Rodrigues is going to want to have a boring fight. I think he's just going to go in, create some chaos. And I think within that chaos, a knockout will be found. And if it's going to be a knockout, I think that Ronaldo is going to be the pick here. But, yeah, I'd be careful when it comes to this fight. All right, up the card, we have Daniel Zellhuber versus Esteban Ribovics. Now, this is actually a great matchup. This is going to be an insane fight. And this is actually a really fucking hard fight to break down. Now, my pick's actually going to be Esteban Ribovics. I'm going to take the dog here. And this fight is way too close to have a line like this. Daniel at -260 just makes no sense to me. I'm actually surprised the line is this wide. But at the end of the day, people are high on Daniel. He does have that 77-inch reach, and he is, a pretty talented striker. But the thing for me is that I think Daniel just he doesn't fight like someone that's a super lengthy striker. He actually doesn't maintain the range well. He puts himself in chaotic scenarios and he just ends up coming out on top. I mean, with that type of reach, you do allow yourself to like have some like lengthy hooks and stuff that come around with a bunch of power. But you know, Ribovics is pretty talented as well. Ribovics is good everywhere, and on the feet he has a ton of power. And I also think he's just less hittable. Zellhuber absorbs just as many strikes as he dishes out per minute, and I don't think that's a good thing, especially with the amount of reach advantage he has. So I wouldn't be too worried about that 8-inch reach advantage. I think that Zellhuber is not going to want to maintain that. He's going to put himself in a situation that's going to cause some chaos. And I mean, in those scenarios, either of these guys can knock the other one out. But I mean, Zellhuber just eats more shots. So I'm going to go with Esteban. I think both these guys are going to be super dangerous. And like, this fight is super close. If it does end up going to the cards, I wouldn't be surprised if I see like a split decision or some 29-28s here. The line is just way too wide to bet on Daniel. I think there's a bunch of value in Esteban because this fight should be pretty close. And then, I mean, if this fight does go to the ground through some random bullshit, I think Esteban's better there as well. But I don't really see this fight going to the ground. Daniel has pretty good takedown defense. And I mean, like I said, he is pretty lengthy, so he might also be live for a random submission here and there. But yeah, I mean, I think aside from that, this fight stays on the feet. And then on the feet, it's just going to come down to who's going to land the harder shot first. And I kind of see Esteban doing that. All right, the next fight on the card, this has finally been rebooked. It's going to be Diego Lopes versus Brian Ortega. And I'm going to go out on a limb here. I know almost nobody's picking Brian Ortega, but I'm going to pick Brian Ortega to beat Diego Lopes. And that's because I just wasn't as impressed with the Diego Lopes fight versus Dan Ige. And I know all the bullshit about like, oh, like he had to make weight 3 times. His opponent switched. He had a new opponent 4 hours before the fight. Like that shit definitely messed with him too. I guess so. But the third round, he definitely gassed. And I mean, at the end of the day, like Diego Lopes has shown that he's good, but he has not fought anyone that good. Danny Gase is his best fight. And I mean, Brian Ortega has fought Yair. He's fought Holloway. He's fought like prime Volkanovski. And he had prime Volkanovski in a submission twice. I'm probably realistically chasing that Brian Ortega submission when it comes to this matchup. It's kind of hard for me to see Brian Ortega like winning minutes 2 out of 3 rounds. I mean, and he's probably realistically not getting a KO on Diego Lopes. But for some reason, I'm going to go out on a limb here and pick Brian Ortega. Similar to my Chris Padilla pick last week. I mean, I just think that Brian Ortega is always in the fight. He's fought like the absolute best of the best there is. Diego Lopes doesn't have the resume like that. And I mean, we've seen this happen multiple times this year. Like Benoit Saint Denis looking like an absolute world beater. And then what happens versus Dustin Poirier. Ikram looking like a world beater. Then he fights Robert Whittaker. And I mean, like, Brian Ortega, you know, he's had those, like, he got knocked out by Yair. He wasn't looking too good in that first round, but he ended up getting the finish anyways on Yair and avenging that loss. And like I said, he had Volk in 2 submissions. That was prime Volk. I think that Brian Ortega's jiu-jitsu is, like, unmatched. I think it's one of the best on the rosters. Diego Lopes is no slouch anywhere. He's, like, I mean, he's a favorite for a reason. People are probably going to hate on this pick, but I'm going to go with Brian Ortega. I hope he gets a submission. I'm going to talk my shit after he does. All right, moving on to the co-main event. We're stuck in a time loop. We're watching Alexa Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko one more time because everyone wanted this fight to happen 3 times in a row, I guess. But I mean, okay, between these 2 fighters, I'm going to go pick Alexa Grasso to get the win here. I don't know if it's finish or decision. I probably wouldn't play any props, but Alexa Grasso money line is probably what I would bet here. Now, the reason for that is that, one, we saw a distinct difference between their first and second fight. I mean, in their first fight, Shevchenko was definitely winning before Grasso was able to find that finish. But in their second fight, you know, Grasso did a lot better in the wrestling. You know, Grasso also, like, hurt Valentina a little bit. And I think that while you could say that decision was bullshit or whatever, Grasso's 31 and Shevchenko's 36. Shevchenko's not getting any younger. I think Grasso's still getting better. She's in her fighting prime right now. And yeah, at the end of the day, I just think it comes down to that. I think that Grasso's the younger fighter. Both these girls know each other really well now. This is going to be their 3rd fight. They know what their strengths are. They know what their weaknesses are. And I think at the end of the day, it's just that Grasso's probably, you know, like gotten better over the last few fights. And I think Shevchenko is definitely just regressing at this point in her career. So I'm going to pick Grasso to win here. I think she does get it done. I actually think she won the last fight. I think that's an unpopular opinion. Maybe I gotta go watch it again. It's been a while. But personally, I actually think she won the last fight. Maybe I'm biased. I did have a bet on Grasso the last time they fought. But I'm going to bet her again. I think her money line looks pretty good. Like I said, probably wouldn't play any props here. But yeah, Alexa Grasso money line. All right, and finally, our main event, which is Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili. Now, I'm going to go with Sean O'Malley here. This breakdown is going to be pretty similar to probably a bunch of other people's opinions around this fight. And we know what's going to happen. Merab has some sloppy takedowns, sloppy entries. He's going to come in. He's going to want to get O'Malley down. And O'Malley is just really good footwork, really quick, really accurate striker. And on those entries, he's going to catch Merab a bunch of times. And he has underrated grappling too. And I mean, he said it in interviews himself. We know Sean knows that every opponent he fights is going to try to take him down because no one really wants to stand up with him, especially Merab. So we know that Sean knows Merab's going to try to take him down. It's just going to come down to, can Merab get him down over 5 rounds? He does have that insane gas tank, but that also might be in question considering, there's rumors that he might have staph. He might be recovering from staph infection. So potentially his gas tank could be at risk too. And then on top of that, the cut he posted. So a bunch of things are working against Merab when it comes to this fight. I just don't think that those entries and those takedowns are going to be good enough. And even the chain wrestling itself, I think O'Malley's just going to be able to create space and then within that space just do a bunch of damage. And also Merab's chin is questionable. So I'm going to go O'Malley by KO. I think that is the pick to take here. I don't see Merab being able to, put his game plan to work. I think O'Malley's game plan is going to prevail. So yeah, I'm going to go with Sean O'Malley to win this fight. All right, and with that ends our picks and predictions for UFC 306. Good luck to everyone placing bets this weekend. Hopefully we destroy the sports books. And yeah, please drop a like, drop a comment, and join the Discord. Love having people in the community. And then if you fuck with what we're doing, we have a premium package on kopicks.win. So feel free to check that out. If not, still love to have everyone in the community. So join up on the Discord, subscribe to the channel. We're coming back with a bunch of content, breaking down every single fight card. We've been absolutely killing it as well on the sports books. So yeah, we'd love to have everyone in the community and let's all cook together.